to the Big Fat Gay Podcast, where we talk about the things that are weighing on our minds. Trevor's dancing over here.
With his tongue.
We're all vibing. My name is Michael. I'm a chaser. And today I am an excited April boy because April is my birthday month. Well, April 17th. And I can't wait. I'm turning 32. It's a year I've never been before. So,
you're going to like it. It's a good one.
I can't tell you the number of times I've been 32, Michael. I really can't.
We all can.
I'd have to kill you.
Hi, my name is Don. I am a big chubby guy living in sunny Hollywood, and today I have Michael's salty nuts in my mouth. So pardon me if you hear the lip smacking every once in a while.
Your cashews. Care to clarify that?
They're cashews.
Cashew
What? I'm having your cashews. They're lovely.
Anyway, moving
Hi,
along.
I'm Dan Oliverio, author, public speaker, and certified chubby chaser.
It's true.
It is true.
He had it recertified last week.
That's right. That's laminated. And yes, I am enjoying the cool pleasantness of a gray Los Angeles.
It's true. It is very cloudy out.
You're salty.
I'm Trevor Keyson. I'm a super chub here in cloudy Valley Village, California.
That's right.
And I don't know. I am feeling good. I had a little red velvet loaf cake. I had an egg bite sous vide. Had some coffee. I'm feeling ready to start the day.
He's on the Starbucks meal plan.
Yeah.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
I was wagging my tongue as I was dancing. It's a good day.
Naughty boy.
He's like a big old puppy dog with the cheeseburger ball gag.
Yeah. That was
dog toy. Sorry. It's a reference to a conversation you guys weren't privy to.
Yes.
How funny is that?
Now we're a real podcast.
Yes, exactly.
Well, since we're so professional, I think this is the perfect
Great
segue
segue. Great
here.
That's right. Segue it, baby. Segue it.
Good job.
We are going to be launching a Patreon.
Da-da. I should probably have a sound cue for that.
A champagne
It's
cork.
supposed to be, yeah. Oh, well, at least you got it. It's supposed to be a cork, but I feel like they should have like the fizzy bubbles after that too. Like,
Yeah.
yes, we're launching a Patreon because I have been editing the show for over 2 years now. And while I love doing the show, it is work. I edit for a living in addition to editing the show. So it does eventually take a toll on me. I get pretty exhausted, which is why we take our hiatuses.
But even on the hiatuses, Michael is still editing the content for the hiati.
Yeah, I'm still doing that. And we're taking those breaks because I have so much regular work to do that I can't do the podcast work, even though I'm still doing some podcast work. Anyway, it's just been a long buildup, and we've gotten to a point where it really feels necessary to hire an editor for the show. So we are launching a Patreon channel to support that cause on, wait for it, my birthday.
April 17th.
Give me a birthday present on the 17th of this month. We're going to keep you guys posted on all of that. But yeah, it's very exciting times.
Yeah.
We hope that you'll stand with us as we try and take our show to the next level and continue bringing you all the good stuff that we've brought you for the past 2 years. But maybe with more regularity and less Michael tears.
Yeah, definitely fewer tears and gray hairs. And also, I mean, this could expand out into other things, but we're going to try and do a live episode at Bigger Vegas. That's pending still. We're working on it. We don't know, but there's a lot of stuff that could go into beyond just hiring an editor. Of course, it will come with exclusive content. It's not just about supporting the show, although that is always the first request. We don't advertise the show. We don't spread it around besides word of mouth. Like what you guys do and say is really the best kind of recommendation and support we can get. And so that's where we're going with it.
I'm just laughing because of how much this sounds like Pledge Week.
Oh,
NPR Pledge Week.
So one of the tier levels we have is a tote bag.
No. So you have to use your NPR voice. You have to
One of the
We
pledge levels that we have is a.
I want to make it very
Fine
clear we don't have tote bags. There's no merch yet. Although I don't know, the shirt thing. I've been trying to solve. It's not really
solvable. We've done a lot of research.
That's why we've opted for ponchos.
Yeah.
Blankets. We could totally do blankets, like little throw blankets.
No, my brain went to a weird point when Don was talking about sharing the podcast, and I was like, if you know any pay pigs,
what
people like financial domination, like people that want. Yeah.
Oh.
Like people who are like,
a sex
If
thing.
they pledge money, I
a
will
sex thing.
happily call them up and say terrible things to them.
yeah.
Yes, I will do it. I will take that.
Oh, guys, you're not getting fin dumb at all here.
Oh, jeez. Well, anyway, I'm instantly regretting all of this. I just wanted to run a very innocent, sweet and innocent Patreon. We don't have to make it sexual.
Have you met our podcast?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm part of it.
So the next level is fold pledging.
Oh, Jesus.
That's a very
boy.
important.
It's pay what you will. All
Yeah,
tiers cover all content. So
sliding
you-
scale. So
yeah, whatever
pay what you
you
can,
yeah.
you get everything.
But anyway, that's enough of that. We have an actual show to do.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Oh, and if you thought it wasn't weird already, we're doing a little kind of cartwheel, but like not a full cartwheel into pop culture.
Oh, yes.
With Shreklesque,
Shrek-lesque.
the Shrek burlesque show.
The greenest burlesque you've ever seen.
I think my favorite review is "It's ripping."
Oh no, there's a better review. We'll get to it.
Oh, that's true.
There's a better review than that.
I was so the emotions I went through when I saw this pop up in my like Instagram.
Have you ever seen
stories.
swinging green tits before? If not, you should check out Shrek-lesque.
Yes, the review Michael is referring to is from Pedestrian TV, which Shreklesque shared, and it says cult burlesque show Shreklesque is almost here, and my shussy is going into Ogre Drive.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is a shussy?
You don't. Oh,
I
God.
didn't know either.
Dan inquired and regretted it instantly.
Yep. Don't ask. Don't ask.
So Shreklesque started. It was from 2020, which is appropriate. You know, just the weirdest year that still feels like it's happening. In Perth by the burlesque artist Trigger Happy, who, if you go to his Instagram, he's also part of a Simpsons burlesque show where he plays Homer,
Oh, that makes sense.
which is
oh God, no!
kind of terrifying.
Got a picture. The Shrek one has a lot less uncanny valley going on. The
Yes.
Homer one is creepy.
It looks amazing. Shreklesque is something that I didn't know I needed or wanted or would like.
So just to be clear, it is a burlesque show, and people should know what a burlesque
It's not
show
just it's not just themed around Shrek. It is the story too.
Yes,
So
yes.
like it is, but it's obviously burlesque dancers, many of which are plus size.
Very, I think almost
I
all.
have to say, I'm fascinated by this genre of burlesque. Like, I've seen Star Wars burlesque, Star Trek burlesque, Game of Thrones burlesque. You know, in Los Angeles, it's a big business.
Oh, yeah,
but,
yeah.
But they do bring in like people with unusual body types. I've seen disabled burlesque dancers.
Mm-hmm.
Boylesque is a huge thing here in LA. You know, it's a fun genre. Look out, go check it out.
I'm not sure how many listeners we have in Australia and New Zealand, but
We have some.
Please,
That's where the show is.
yes.
Yeah, go check it out.
Go check it out if you can. Take some pictures with the cast and send them to us. We'd love to see.
Yes, it is.
So I don't plug.
I'm still just getting lost in like watching the Gingerbread Man strip now.
Well, anyway,
Pinocchio,
That's right.
We
Oh, that
There's a whole
sugar! Oh, that sugar icing comes right off.
there's a whole.
Show me some sugar, baby.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, so it's good stuff. It's good stuff for the month of April. Also, well, I don't know. I kind of wanted to do a catch up because we're about to go into a Lizzo subject. I checked out the first episode of Watch Out for the Big Girls. Has anyone else seen it yet?
No, I haven't. How is it?
I very much enjoyed it. I don't typically go for competition shows. Like that's not unless it is a type of thing that I'm inherently interested in, like cooking, and then I'll usually skip through all of the personal stories to just the cooking.
All these human beings. Why? We always see the cooking.
Well, because they always and so some of the things we were musing on, like it is a competition show. There are eliminations, but it's also Lizzo, and I don't want to spoil anything. But she, whether or not this was planned ahead of time or not, she does break her own rules just because she wants to. In certain cases, she'll just be like, you know what, this is my show, damn it, and I'm doing it this way. So like, there's some surprises.
Wow.
It's it's a lot of what you would expect, but just like I was heavily invested, no pun intended, in the contestants because they're all big women, and that's really cool to watch. Yeah.
Well, Lizzo has been just there's surprises on the show and for us, the public, because Lizzo has launched her own line of plus size shapewear and available in sizes 6X to X,
Yeah.
which I loved seeing it framed that way because it is so often
The other way around.
the other way around.
Yeah, 6X all the way down to 1X.
Yes.
Are you sure it's on to 1X? I thought it was extra small. Yeah, it says 6X to XS.
Yeah, that's extra small.
Oh, I didn't see the S.
But it does. The point being, it starts with 6X,
Yes.
which so part of the whole point of the line is to shake up perceptions about how clothing is presented. In this case, shapewear,
Yes.
which is commonly associated with like change the look of your body to look more traditionally beautiful, and she's like, but it doesn't have to be
Yeah,
that.
early
Yeah.
shapewear would be things like corsets or girdles, things that are designed to change the silhouette of the body. It's often used on the like the Academy Awards if someone wants to fit into a particular suit or dress. But they're typically been worn as undergarments
Yeah.
or foundation garments. My favorite phrase. Ladies' foundation garments. But these are meant to be sassy. You can wear them under your clothes. You can wear them over your clothes. You can wear them instead of clothes.
Yeah, and it's very much that idea of like sort of taking the power away from the thing or the word or whatever by co-opting it and making it your own.
And she makes a really great point that this isn't about your body is wrong and we have to correct it. It's really like, maybe you want to either show off your body in a particular way or you like the feel of compression in some parts of your body. So it's really about you being able to express yourself in whatever way you want.
I love the story behind the name of the line. So
Yeah.
it's Yiddy, which is kind of a family nickname, and it's because her brother couldn't say Melissa, and he would say Mayida, and her auntie Carmen would say, "Did he call her Yiddy?" So then her family would call her Yiddy, and it's kind of in honor of her aunt because her aunt passed away in May of 2020. And I just think I think it's a fun, like, I love when there's kind of that personal touch to any kind of product
line.
But I think it makes it especially personal in this case because she designed the line and was kind of trying to break out of the standard like ideals of shapewear, and was actually initially pushing. I don't know if this was in the New York Times article or I read it somewhere else, but that she didn't want to call it shapewear. She's like, it's bodywear, and people were like, okay, but if you call it bodywear, people aren't going to really know what it is.
Yeah.
Sauce West, who has been kind of behind the push for inclusivity in plus size clothes, did have some valid criticisms because this Lizzo's line is through Fabletics, which has had some not great stuff in the past, and also like their plus size stuff is lower. The sizes are smaller than the plus standard. I suggest checking out Sauce West's stuff on this because I think it is. I think it's important to celebrate like milestones. Our thing is like, it's something. And I feel like this is especially something, but I think this is good groundwork for pushing for even more inclusive clothing and sizing.
Yeah, absolutely. And they got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, it's an opportunity for them to make good on whatever screw ups they've had in the past.
Yeah. And I think it's like Lizzo is the person who can do that.
But she's just doing all the things. And I feel like, especially after 2021, which was a very like Lizzo light year, sort of took a break, presumably writing, making music and doing her thing like in the studio, a little less active on social media.
What was she doing? I don't know.
She was making a TV show and designing a shapewear line.
And Lizzo has a new song coming out, which you got a little tease of it in the video that was teasing the shapewear line. I thought it was going to be the new song coming out.
Oh, that would have been a very clever.
But you can pre-save the song so that when it comes out, it will save to either your like Apple Music,
12 a.m.
Spotify,
the day that it launches. Anyway, is it time?
It's time.
Yes,
Is it happening?
We've got our new Lizzo Yiddy leggings on, and I'm pulling them up.
They're catching the breeze.
And they're making me more aerodynamic as I soar through the air.
Jesus Christ, he's airborne.
Right into Fatvatars.
There he goes.
Oh, God.
I am picturing Trevor in the Falcon suit during this now.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It's
The wings
wonderful.
expand.
So, BuzzFeed just had their annual Body Week. And as part of that, I can't remember the name of the section, but I was kind of talking about their style guide in terms of language. and the words
Quibbles
obese
and
and
bits.
overweight. Yes, quibbles and bits.
Quibbles and bits, yeah.
Talking about the problem with overweight and obese in terms of
As words.
I feel like they must have listened to Dan speak at some point and then just ripped off his entire spiel.
I mean, come on, to be fair, I'm hardly the first person to talk about this.
I know.
And to that point,
You're the first
they-
person I heard talk about
It's
it.
worth
Well,
going
thank
through
you.
it again, just in brief, though.
Yeah.
The euphemisms, how they hurt by their existence.
And they cite Aubrey Gordon, aka your fat friend. Aubrey's book, What We Don't Talk About When We Talk About Fat, was kind of a big influence on them settling on these systems of language use.
I think people might not be familiar with what a style guide is. We're not talking about fashion style. We're talking about the policies that a print magazine or print source has
Yes.
to govern language. For example, part of the style guide for the New York Times is they always use people's titles. They will say Mr. Obama or President Obama. They won't just say Obama.
Right.
That's part of the style guide.
And so in this case, going over the different languages to describe and talk about fat and fat people and like what is an acceptable term. The one that surprised, I guess, I'm this is continuing education, but the writer was talking about how even in their own copy editing, there have been times where they've opted for the term body shaming when what they really meant was anti-fat. And I had to sort of think about it. But it does make sense because it's sort of that dancing around the word fat and like body shaming doesn't make it specific enough.
If I may, I think the really subtle trick there, it's really nice that they picked up on it, is when you say body shaming, you think about the person being shamed. When you talk about anti-fat bias, you think about the person who has the bias. So it's where your focus goes. So if I say that, John body shamed Jane, my focus is on Jane. But if I say that John's anti-fat bias had an effect on Jane, now I'm focused on John.
Yeah. And it's also, I mean, even the simple idea of avoiding saying the word fat, like that's like stigmatized.
Oh, absolutely, because fat has become literally unspeakable.
Yeah.
Like to say fat is literally a dirty word. And so we come up with all these absurd euphemisms.
And
it's purely a pejorative. You can call someone fat who isn't fat, and it gets the point across. And people use it that way.
You mean to insult someone?
Yeah, to insult.
Oh, sure, like a big fat liar.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting. When I was on vacation, there was a point where my brother-in-law said it's vacation, so we were sort of lounging on the deck, late in the afternoon, and my sister came over and was like, "Hey, are we going to go do something?" And he was like, No. I'm feeling way too sort of fat and lazy to get up and do something. And I was sitting there with Michael, and he immediately sort of like stuttered and was like, just lazy.
Yeah.
And then I got up to go get a drink or something. And apparently, like about a minute later, he sort of turned to Michael and was like, "I'm so sorry about that. I didn't mean that."
Oh, that's so sweet.
Like it just came out of my mouth, but I'm trying not to say that.
Because fat, the reason people avoid it is it collocates with other negative ideas.
Right.
In fact, in my book, I have an exercise where, I say, try putting another pejorative in front of short. Like no one says like short and stupid.
Yeah.
But people always say, fat and stupid.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like it's how the phrase is collocated.
They're
How the phrase
tied.
is collocated. Yeah.
Sorry, I've never had that experience. I've had people say it in front of me, and then I actually got into the habit of just maintaining eye contact for a long beat.
Good for you.
Like-
Good for
No,
you.
but it's never made it through. I've never
People
seen
just don't
that
get it.
shine of recognition, so I gave up. It's amazing how people feel so free to say that in front of anyone.
You mean
Yeah.
collocations like fat and stupid or fat and lazy?
or like, fat, God, I feel so fat.
Yeah.
Or like, she's really she's getting chunky, isn't she? I'm
Yeah.
like, why are you leaning over and saying this to me? Like,
well, you know what it's like? It reminds me of, it's not the same as, but it reminds me of the high school phrase like, "Oh my God, that's so gay."
Yeah.
yeah,
Very
which
much so.
unfortunately still has not died.
I think it's on the way out, but it's like that idea that if you want to insult something, you call it gay. If you want to insult something, you call it fat.
Yeah.
I do think that is on the way. Granted, I'm not in high school, but online is where I would expect to see that a lot. And
I participate a lot in video game culture, so and
Yeah.
it's
Oh, well.
rampant in
Yeah.
video game
yeah,
culture.
and I
mean,
feel like
so
that
it's
is a very like it's still a very sort of like straight male heteronormative
incel?
culture. Yeah. Like, and not entirely, let's not paint with
So it's
broad
interesting.
brushes.
I play a lot of games where you're co-oping with people online, and I'm finding a lot of games where you have the ability to identify yourself in some way. So like Overwatch has they have a gay pride flag now. Right. They have Ukraine flag went up right after the invasion. They have lots of little ways to make personal statements. And once that started happening, I noticed if there's a gay flag in the icons of the people you're playing with, I hardly ever hear anyone say that's so gay anymore. Right. As soon as they're aware that there's someone in front of them, and if they have any sort of intelligence about it, they're self-editing.
It's the assumed like they probably assume that because this has always been this way, that they have a safe space to say shit like that. And then when they realize that not everyone else in that space is thinking the same thing they are, maybe there is a bit of like shame and awareness.
I'm still figuring it out because like I noticed when a woman is playing, the misogyny levels still can go up.
Yeah.
Increase beyond what they would if there was no woman there.
Well, because now they've got an audience.
Well, and there's sexual interest, I think, largely. That adds a whole dynamic where it's not purely about the words of the insult. It's about getting attention or taking out some kind of past trauma on somebody you don't know because they're a woman. You know, like there's a whole lot.
And there have been some studies I read recently that basically said that like a lower skilled straight man will tend to get very aggressive when they feel a woman has come into their gaming space and is eclipsing them. So anyway, I thought that was interesting.
Well, I think this might be a good segue to our main topic.
Yeah.
So in my, great big fat gay aggregator where I get all my fat news.
That's such a strange name for your brain, honey.
Well, no, I mean, I'm talking about my Google. Like,
no, I know.
There was
Big fat
this article in this kind of. I'm going to, before I even get in this, we don't fuck with NFTs or metaverse stuff on the Big Fat Gay podcast, but it caught my attention.
I don't think we know nearly enough about it.
No.
This NFT website kind of talking about the metaverse and how the metaverse is an opportunity. Like the world isn't body positive, but the metaverse could be.
Right. So the metaverse, and I'm going to take a stab at this. It's new enough that it is a space where people see the potential to have avatars for yourself, like a digital avatar represented through an NFT, right? That's how it was described in the article.
Yes, but I mean, right now NFTs are just kind of JPEGs with blockchain.
It's not a fully fledged, but the idea being you have an identity that's an avatar, but then maybe it's because it's an NFT, it is actually unique to you and owned by you.
I liked how Trevor explained it to me, an oldster, that it was something like if all the internet dreams of the 90s came true, how did you package it?
It is very bizarre because so I specifically cited Ghost Whisperer, the Jennifer Love Hewitt show. There's an episode where her character who talks to ghosts like is being contacted by a ghost of a teenager, like and she has to Jennifer Love Hewitt goes into essentially Second Life, but like this is someone who
it's a video game.
Yeah, like a virtual reality world. And this is like people who don't understand in the 90s, early 2000s, people who didn't understand what the internet was had this image of like, it's this other world and you have an avatar and like there's nightclubs.
There's my favorite visualization of the internet is the internet from Futurama, where you literally you jack yourself in a la the Matrix and you have an avatar and you're physically flying around a universe of the internet and entering rooms that are actual websites and chat rooms and but you still have a menu that you have to pull up in front of your face. And you can see somebody when you're trying to chat with them, you can see them pull up the menu and hit block and
and they disappear.
Yeah, exactly.
So weird.
So you're saying it's not really like that on the internet.
Or exactly like that. We don't know. It's not really happened yet.
Well, and so Meta, formerly Facebook, is like, this is their vision for the future.
The metaverse.
The metaverse and integrating NFTs in some way.
Okay, but our tie-in, why we're even talking about this is...
With this proposed new world and new society, will people choose to be fat?
Will they have fat avatars?
And the Bopoverse is where the article comes in, which is body positive verse, is creating NFTs to represent body positive, diverse, fat positive avatars. So like that's where, but this is the jumping off point for us.
Yeah.
So everybody doesn't have to look like Conan or Bender.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like, but then it introduces all kinds of things. Like if you could choose what your avatar looks like, what would you do? And I think, so Don and I come into this from video games. I think you and Trevor as well.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
because video games have a long history of being able to create your character and make it look like whatever you want.
Within the constraints as believed appropriate by the programmers. And we've done episodes on this before where in video games, even when they make a fat character, a playable character fat, or make you able to make your own avatar fat, they very rarely support a realistic idea of what fat is.
They just sort of bend the triangle into a sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they'll just make all of the proportions larger, or, you know, it never looks like an actual fat person.
400 pounds with abs.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can, yes.
We've actually addressed that before.
Yeah, exactly. I remember
That's a
that.
phenomenon in video games.
Well,
fat people with abs.
Come on, God, it's not like I've actually seen a video game. I got this from you.
Well, so a game series which I have seen kind of go through this evolution of more inclusive body stuff and even, I would say, gender identity is The Sims.
I knew it. I knew you were going to say that. I was thinking the same thing.
The Sims even, like, you can, I think it's one of the first games where I've really seen you can have different fat body types. Like you can adjust their hips and butt and everything. So it's like they can be more pear-shaped. They can be more apple-shaped. They can be, you know, fat and muscular or just fat. They can be fat with like really skinny arms.
Yeah.
And the latest iteration of The Sims 4, was initially going to be an online-only game.
Oh.
Kind of like The Sims Online from the, you know, early 2000s, which was like the Sims version of Second Life, where you can have property and
a
stuff.
very innocent version of Second Life.
Actually,
Second Life.
From what
not
I've
so
heard,
much?
I couldn't get it to run on my computer. My parents got it for me, and they didn't realize like you needed a subscription.
Oh.
So I couldn't play it.
Oh yeah, because that's how online games used to always have a monthly subscription. I remember that. That's why I couldn't play them.
But, you know, so Facebook has kind of like, Meta has, you know, they had the little avatars you can make, and they have kind of transitioned them into 3D. And like they can kind of be fat.
Right. And then like if you can design your own avatar and you're fat and you identify as fat, are you going to put that into your metaverse avatar that you can choose to make it look like however you want?
Yeah.
Is there anyone out there who isn't fat who would do that? Like, I'm curious.
I think there are probably a lot of people who would experiment with an avatar who didn't look like them. And one of the ways it could not look like them is that it's fat. I think it's also important to say that like, if you are fat, it's not necessarily some betrayal to have like a thin and muscular avatar.
No.
Like, why wouldn't you just want to explore that body the same way someone might want to explore the reverse?
Well,
except that there is the stigma.
It makes sense though, because the question has to be asked, because one of the first proto questions asked any gay person is like, well, if you couldn't be gay, if you could not be gay,
If there were a pill,
would you not be gay?
Right.
So it's hard not to make that immediate comparison to a fat person going into this metaverse. Would you assume that you're going to get the same bullshit with a fat avatar that you get in real life? Which I don't think is the case.
Yeah.
Just the gay pill thing made me think that like so there's a pill you can take to not be gay, but you have to take it every day. Otherwise, whoops, you go through the change and it's like a werewolf. It's like, oh no, I didn't take my medication.
I didn't take my medication.
And they're like wrists snap forward.
You mean like a Tyrannosaurus?
That would be. If that's not a short film somewhere, it should be. Where I was going to go with it was, I think the key difference between what we've talked about with video game avatars and even online video games and this, which I'm curious about, and I don't know if this is the case, but because NFTs, like the whole point is that it is uniquely identified. Like the reason it exists is because it is unique. It is a thing that represents the unique version of whatever that is. In that case, it becomes tied to your identity, right? It's not
you literally own it.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. I don't think it's just a screen name or an avatar or a Bitmoji. It is, I think, supposed to be tied to your identity, kind of like an ID. Maybe? I don't know.
Well, that would make sense. That follows.
I mean, the thing is it should be that, but like it's still not really that. I mean, it's still this weird thing where it's like not so far NFTs are just like JPEGs, and there is there's this push for like, but it could be like that,
right?
And it could be, in the metaverse, avatars could buy shirts that are NFTs, and there's only a certain number of these shirts, or like, they could collab with these brands. And I'm curious, like if your NFT is fat, could it wear the shirt, or is it going to be like the same thing where it's like, wow,
the same problem?
My NFT is clipping through this chair because it's not big enough. I can't wear this NFT I bought.
If you change the NFT from the original, is it still an NFT of that same unique?
Oh, is the fatter version?
Is it still
interesting?
I would be willing to bet that if the original artist made adjustments, they could resell it.
And then would it be different?
It would be a different.
That is a really interesting ontological question, because it's almost like, if the person gains weight, are they the same person?
Huh.
If your avatar gains weight and it is another avatar, are you the same avatar?
Yeah, I think because there's no sense of time. Like, you can't say that avatar gained weight and became that. They're two different things.
No, I get it. I'm just, again, from an ontological point of view, because I have very little other way to participate in this conversation. That's where I'm going.
So my prediction, though, is that it's not going to be the desire for fat bodies in the space that will drive the appearance of fat bodies in the space. My bet is do you guys know what the term kawaii means?
Yeah.
Only the island in the chain, in the archipelago.
Okay, so kawaii is a Japanese term that means cuteness, right? And it's one of the driving forces in a lot of like young kid marketing and trendy marketing in new things. So
like the animals with really big eyes.
Animals with really big eyes. One of the big problems coming up with these models is shapes, making the shapes that can move and be animated and not overlap in ways that break the illusion that it's a real thing, right? That's why, like, when you just take a mainstream body type and blow it up, it doesn't look like a fat person because it doesn't move right. It doesn't the body doesn't interact with itself.
Oh,
right.
Kind of like when you take skinny people clothes and blow them up for fat people, they don't fit.
Right? So with video games, like, I think the drive is going to be for the big cute clown or sumo wrestler and these sort of other figures that are more fantastic. But then once those figures are in place and you have the framework for larger bodies, then I think you'll actually start seeing larger realistic avatars entering the marketplace. And that would be interesting.
And I mean, to wrap it back into the article that we were referring to, like, somebody is like Bopoverse is creating these avatars in, like, specifically, I think, female plus size bodies, but like there will be, I think it would be much, I say this now, not knowing anything about it, but I think in concept, at least, it is much easier to design digital avatars of a certain type or shape than it is to design clothes to fit people of that same type and shape.
Well, yeah, because you can take in their elbows.
Yeah, well, exactly.
It's so much easier.
No, I just mean, like, it is a more achievable goal to represent people digitally when you can literally make it anything through no limitation except the programming, versus clothing where you have materials to worry about, you have physics to worry about.
You're talking about actual clothes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because we talk about finding representation that actually fits the people it's meant for, including clothing, and like how hard it is to find clothing that fits a fat body perfectly. When you're in a cyberspace, to use a 90s term, like, you are not constrained.
And I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Yeah, you are not constrained by those same physical realities.
I think actually cyberspace is
it
more
coming
accurate
back
for like the vibe of the metaverse?
Yeah,
to me
true.
it's like
Well, congratulations to William Gibson, who invented
the term. Interesting.
It comes from cyberpunk.
I do think it's interesting that their metaverses, like Facebook, is throwing their weight into metaverse so hard when, like, I can't think of a sci-fi reality where virtual reality is a positive thing.
True.
No.
You know?
Yeah. Anyway, so what would you do if you could design your own avatar? How would it look? And I think specifically, imagine that you can only have one, and it is tied to your identity the same way that an ID is.
Well, but would you only be able to have one, or you just?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just that a condition of the question.
Yeah,
you would be able to change it like clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
But for the point of the question is pertinent to this. If you were tied to one image to your virtual life, right? What would it be? And I don't think mine would be humaniform.
Interesting.
I don't think it would. I
Okay.
think I'd want to distance. I think I'd want to be something more fantastic.
Is this part of your rabbit fantasy?
I mean, yeah, I suppose you can go any direction with it. There's no reason.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, why would you assume would be a person? I don't think most people would necessarily reach for that. You'd be getting a lot of robots and animal
yeah.
icons, spirit guides, and
Part of the problem is like the metaverse. I mean, I think apparently it's already a thing because people are buying and selling property and investing like money in fake property, which like that was already a thing in Second Life. All of this is already a thing in Second Life. Like just go on Second Life. Like
But that was like 15 minutes ago, Trevor.
but there's still
Second
a very
Life has been going for decades.
there's still a
Yeah.
very dedicated base of people.
I'm still amazed that they're selling virtual mansions for actual money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases.
I'm not sure if we want to go into this, but do you remember the show Years and Years?
Yes.
So in the show Years and Years, which is basically, it is a projected future that begins with the Donald Trump presidency dropping a nuclear bomb on Taiwan or something.
Yeah.
That's the beginning of the show, and like it goes forward from there in years and years.
Okay.
About this dystopian future.
I watched that at the start of the pandemic.
Yeah,
It was a
we did too.
huge mistake.
No, it is.
It's a very bummer show.
It is completely British and soul crushing.
Oh, fun.
Of just like how bleak. It's really hard.
So
But
much
anyway,
shit happens there that seems to be happening during the pandemic. Anyway,
yeah.
go on.
Here's my point. One of the things that happens in this posited future is there's a teenage girl, and there's this technology where she can wear an avatar in real life.
Okay.
Like it's almost like glasses that then project a cartoon face.
Well, it's
kinda
like it's like an Instagram filter that is
Yeah.
projected over her face.
in real life. And there's a voice that goes with it. And so all her voices are modulated. And the parents are kind of annoyed in the same way that parents get annoyed when, when people used to have Game Boys. And we're always playing Game Boys at the table. So they're like, yeah, can you just take the filter off? Can you just take the filter off? And the daughter becomes increasingly withdrawn and eventually comes out as trans. And wait, the parents are like, oh, thank God. Like, we know how to deal with this. Like, that's great. Like, you're trans, honey. And she goes, no, transhuman. Because it is her desire to be a non-corporeal entity in an electronic universe. And she is dissatisfied with what she feels is being trapped
Physical form.
in a human persona.
Yeah.
And the parents have no idea how to deal with this. And I just think it's an interesting way to sort of cap this as like, how far do people want to go with this? How important is the avatar? Are people going to retreat into their avatar the way people retreat into Facebook and Twitter?
Well, I don't know. My takeaway from like having followed this and being an extremely online person, trademark, is like internet people don't want the metaverse.
Yeah.
Like that is like,
Yeah.
and like personally, it's like I don't want to be more online. Like it's a scam, people. That's the NFTs in the metaverse are a scam, and
Trevor often laments the days when it was just him and a few friends on the internet.
yes,
I don't know.
Trevor's opinions are not officially shared by the Big Fat Gay Podcast, but unofficially, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
My instinct is that this is much like Bitcoin. This is being driven by people with money, and people with money can do whatever the fuck they want to do. And eventually they will make it catch on, because if they've invested that much money and it
has to
doesn't
catch on.
like you,
listeners, let us know. Like, what are you? I don't know. Would you have a fat avatar? Would you like let us know? Let us know about what you would do with avatars when you are as. I don't know if it's Don or Dan said, when we're all forced into the metaverse, what are you going to do?
What then?
Fatvatars of the cyberverse.
Fatvatars. Big fat gay Fatvatars.
Oh my God, we'll make a mint.
Is this how we make our money? We don't even need a Patreon. We can just make
Avatar.
avatar.
An avatar.
Avatar.
An avatar.
Atfatar.
Acetar.
I like avatar.
Avatar.
Fatatar.
Okay. Well, anyway.
That sounds like a really overweight minotaur.
I'm going
Well,
to.
it could be, couldn't it?
It sounds like a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Anyway,
We got a tip.
we do.
Other than
Thank Christ.
other than NFTs being a scam, our tip is Yen Press announced a new manga called Embrace Your Size, and it is a love letter to those who dream of being fashionable but consider their weight an obstacle. This uplifting comic essay by a plus-size author chronicles her own journey with body positivity and learning to love herself as she is. And it looks very cute, and I haven't really seen that. And I know, Don, you were saying you didn't either like that, like a fat positive manga, which like there's Yaoi and there's Bera. Because Dan was like, what about like the Bear? Dan was talking about Bera porn.
I'm trying to remember the name of the really famous one. It's like My Brother's Gay Husband or something like that. But even that one, it's not really a fat character. It's a big sort of muscle bear guy.
He's Barry. Yeah. I mean, there is this artist I follow, and it's all Japanese, so I don't really know the story or like where to get it, where it's a sumo wrestler. It's like a world where it's like sumo wrestlers, but instead of the mawashis, they have donuts as like belts.
Does that mean you can literally eat them?
I was going to say like an actual donut.
Yes. I mean, well, I don't know. I can't read it, so it's...
If you didn't have a reason to go down on a sumo wrestler before, now
well,
they're made of donuts.
I don't know if it's actual... I'm unclear if it's actual donuts or it just looks like donuts.
Do they look like they have sprinkles and
yeah, and like a little like kind of jelly filling.
This is somebody's fantasy.
It has to be a Simpsons donut. It has that's a donut.
The
I will try to
sprinkles.
I will try to find this and I will share this on the episode page as well. And if any listeners can read and translate and let me know what's happening in these Japanese donut
in
cartoons.
these alternate donut sumo verses.
Yes, but and also check out and pre-order Embrace Your Size.
Yay.
This episode is in desperate need of grounding. Don, please give us something relatable to think about.
Take us out of the metaverse and bring us home.
Well, since earlier in this episode, we talked a little bit about euphemisms and how they can be harmful. One of the other problems you run into with euphemisms, if you don't know what the euphemism's for, sometimes it can be really freaking hard to tell what the guy's talking about, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So, euphemisms from around the world. Yay!
Yay.
So, for example, what do these four words mean? What are they all referring to? Slouster, sappy, turl, or Yankee dime?
Yankee dime.
Oh, okay. Is it a like kind of homely looking woman? Like,
oh no.
Okay,
so all of them are actually euphemisms for kissing from around the world.
Yankee dime?
A Yankee dime is a southern euphemism from Virginia, apparently, and farther south, which is a slur against the Northerners who thought they could just pay for, like, not have to use money for things in the South, apparently.
Interesting.
But
that you could get it for a kiss.
yeah, so a slouster is a sloppy, slobbery kiss.
fun.
Sappy is a soft and drawn out, tender and juicy kiss.
Okay.
A turl is a soft peck on the lips, and a Yankee dime is a quick, innocent kiss.
Huh. Because dime has a different meaning in pop culture now. It's sort of like a hot woman, to put it nicely.
This is post Civil War, so
I've never heard that.
all right.
It's
So what are these some euphemisms for?
hip hop lingo.
Strawberry Week. There are communists in the funhouse. Shark Week.
Period.
Well done. The fourth one was surfing the crimson wave.
What was the communist one again?
There are communists in the funhouse. That is a euphemism.
Because red.
Red in the fun place. It's a euphemism from Denmark, Estonia, Canada, and Sweden.
Oh boy.
Here's another batch. All of these mean the same thing from various places around the world. Shoot twixt wind and water.
What? Shoot
Twixt wind and water.
Shoot twixt wind and water.
Have your corn ground. Grope for a trout in a peculiar river. Or passing the gravy.
Eating someone out.
Jerking off.
Pooping?
All of these are euphemisms for sexual intercourse. Straight up.
Okay.
Shoot twixt wind and water is apparently a Shakespearean root.
Oh.
Have your corn ground. That seems it's because you pound the crap out of corn to grind it. Grope for trout in the peculiar river. More Shakespeare. And passing the gravy, I think, is somewhat self-explanatory. All right. Now, as I wandered the world, I discovered Sweden has an awful lot of very interesting euphemisms. These...
Is this why the Norwegians are just always ragging on
All
them?
of these are from Sweden, and all of them are euphemisms for the same thing. What is it for?
We're going to get so many cards and letters.
Feed the meat beaver. Pull a Tarzan. Need the baguette. Or chastise the one-eyed.
Masturbation.
It's got to be masturbation.
Masturbation.
Apropos of,
Male
this
masturbation, yeah.
Swedish phrases, I was swiping through endless shorts online, and one of them that came up was Alicia Vikander, the actress on the Graham Norton show, talking about Swedish. Apparently, they have a huge amount of like euphemistic phrases that just make absolutely no sense in English. And one of them was like, she was like, oh yeah, you can't just come sliding in here on a shrimp sandwich. And apparently it's like, because there's like a lot of classism, and like a shrimp sandwich would be something that the upper classes could afford to eat. You can't just like, you can't just like come in here like. It just
like you own the place.
Yeah, like you own the place, basically.
Sliding in on a shrimp sandwich.
That said, I'm convinced there's going to be a Swedish listener out there going like, I have never heard of any of these expressions. I don't know what these people are talking about.
You a liar.
I heard it straight from Alicia Vikander, so take it up with her.
I blame all these from the internet.
She told me personally.
Trevor, out of curiosity, if we do have any Swedish listeners and they're upset by the euphemisms we're spreading about them, where can they go to tell us about that?
You can slide in on a shrimp sandwich to our social media.
Yeah.
We're at on Instagram as Big Fat Gay Pod, Twitter too, Facebook, we're the Big Fat Gay Podcast. 5 stars there. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
5 stars, podcast,
Spotify.
Reviews, everywhere.
All the things. And keep an eye out for our Patreon coming up in just a couple weeks.
Our Patreon will be patreon.com/BigFatGayPod.
Yeah.
I didn't do the website.
Oh, do the website.
Our website's www.bigfatgaypod.com. Maybe you're in the metaverse. You're lost. We brought you here and we can't take you out.
That would explain a lot.
And
are you sure we're not lost?
Yeah. You're trying to find your way home, and then the door gets blasted open.
Ah.
It's Shrek-esque, and it's Shrek twerking.
Donkey!
You gotta grab on.
Donkey, I need something to ride.
Grab on and come on home. So
Well, definitely watch out.